friends, so I wanted to share this new nature journal I've made. So I've had this birds book, this lovely vintage birds book, hanging around for flipping ages, and I just didn't really know what to do with it. I didn't want to make it to sell, but yeah, I just wasn't too sure. So my lovely friend Divyam is doing a nature journal inspired by the micro seasons, the 52 micro seasons of Japan. So I thought I would join in with her and make this into a bird themed nature journal, sort of documenting all my walks in nature and the wildlife around. So I'm just flipping through the freshly created book here because I wanted to show off all the nice pretty pages before I journal over it. So this is a mix of handmade papers, vintage papers and scrapbook papers, going for a sort of tan, cream and blue feel, which I think is perfect for this time of year. And I wanted to share a little journal with me, so here we go. So I'm actually starting from a couple of weeks ago because I went up to the woods the other day and all the snow had melted away, so I wanted to document the snowy woods and then the not snowy woods, because the first micro season is east wind melts the ice or blows the ice away. I can't quite remember. So I thought that was quite fitting to start with, but I wanted to show that snow before then. So what I've done is I've collated an ephemera pack to go with this journal. So there's lots of nature themed ephemera and tags and sort of a vintage feel. So that makes it a little bit easier deciding on what ephemera I want to use. I've not got my whole stash, I've just got a wallet full of things. So for this journal with me, I'm not doing journaling per se. This is just prepping the pages, which I'm then going to journal in afterwards off camera, because I feel a bit awkward journaling with my camera going. So what I'm doing on the inside here, because this journal was created using a French link stitch, the first page is actually adhered to the cover, so I actually adhered that using Mod Podge and sort of put it under a big stack of books overnight, so it's pretty firmly attached. And I also intentionally used that thick handmade paper as the first signature, because I thought that would bond quite well with the Mod Podge glue and the cover. And so here I'm just creating a little pocket, and that first photo is from the end of March, where it had lightly snowed. Not the end of March, the end of January. We haven't even got to March yet. It's been a long day. And that is me, that's my face. Hello, if you've not seen my face before. I imagine if you've seen any of my other journal videos, you've seen my little face before though. And I'm just faffing around here trying to decide on placement of things. So you'll see in a second, I struggle with deciding how to make that first page look a bit less plain, but then the eternal struggle of, is it too plain or is it too busy? So and in this ephemera pack that I've created for myself, I've got a lot of vintage illustrations. So these are from the Observer books collection. I use a lot of those books to create my miniature journals. And so of course I have all the book guts that I either put into ephemera packs or use for my own journaling purposes. So with this, I only have illustrations from butterflies, wildflowers, birds' eggs and birds. can see here I am struggling to decide on where to put those butterflies and just sort of playing around. I'll like audition different pieces of ephemera, and what I decided to do in the end was put some washi tape down the side because I thought that looked less crowded. Because these pages are relatively small, each signature, each book leaf is A5 sized or just under A5 size, so depending, because it's a junk journal, so all the pages are slightly different sizes. So yeah, it's fairly small to work with. Page. So because I was sort of playing catch up a little bit, this journal with me is probably slightly longer than other ones will be. I do want to try and film some more working in this journal, but yeah, I decided to just do a bunch at once to catch up, and then moving forward I'm aiming to work in this, you know, once a week or once every couple of weeks. And what I'm doing here is I'm just using some matte acrylic paint just to lightly wash over the original book text, so then I can journal on top of this. This is quite a nice technique because a bit of the original text will peek through, but it's not going to be too much that you can't write over and read the writing. So you can see now it's dried. You just get a hint of what was underneath. And this is moving on to February 1st, the day after we had a lot of snow, which is very exciting. Well, it's a lot of snow for the south of England, I'm sure. Folk in Canada or other places where you have like 10 foot of snow probably look at this and think, crikey, why is she so excited about this? But it was very exciting for me, and I enjoyed a nice snowy walk. That's a little shot of our garden, which I thought looked really cute in the snow. And yeah, this page is pretty simple. It's more just sort of sticking down the photos, and I love that little rabbit sticker which just disappeared, but you'll see it again later. My friend Caroline sent it to me and I really want to use it somewhere, but I struggle with where to put it. Finally, that other half of the butterfly has a home. So when I go on my nature walks, I do love to collect natural ephemera. So you'll see here I've got a beautiful selection of feathers that I picked up on my latest walk to the woods. This little pigeon feather is so soft and fluffy, so I definitely wanted to put that in there, and it just makes the journals very tactile and nice to lightly stroke when you look through the pages. So what I'm doing to adhere this is I've just stapled it onto a paper tag and then glued the tag onto the page. And you can see what a difference you know, a couple of weeks makes. The sky was so bright and blue, and it definitely felt like spring is on the way. So yeah, it was a lovely walk, and that blue picture is actually there's a little speck. I don't know if you can see that. That was a red kite, and I just sort of watched the kites flying for quite a while, and we get a lot of red kites in my area and I absolutely love them, and I wrote a little poem about them which I'm going to write underneath that photo there. And that excellent photo of a red kite is from a vintage book I picked up at a charity shop, and I've just put the red kite label from one of my observer's books on there as well. And now going back to this page, I'm just putting together a simple collage where I can add some more journaling. And faffing around with placement as usual. There's that little bunny again. And I think what I enjoy about this type of journaling is the aesthetic of mixing the photos with stickers, tags, feathers, papers, etc. And then going in and writing afterwards, because I can be reminded of what was happening by the photos, and I like mixing it all up into a big jumble. I do plan on drawing or painting in this book as well, or maybe sketching, but for now, because I just wanted to sort of get up to date with everything, I didn't really have time to do any drawings. And you can see there, I decided to save those other little feathers for a different page. I think it's absolutely fine to cover one nature walk over several different pages, especially in a book that's small like this, and sort of space things out. And I love trying to pair the feathers with the vintage illustrations. So I've got here this pheasant, and I actually found a really beautiful long tail feather of a pheasant, which is in that picture next to the feather, but obviously that's far too big to put in this journal. And then this is the last page, so just sort of arranging things, seeing where they go. I quite like that little feather being a sort of divider between the two photos. And it was lovely on this walk to see so many crocuses blooming. And here we have a minor disaster. I accidentally stuck this book plate on far too wonkily. And you can see, and it doesn't shot too badly on the camera, but it was really wonky in real life, and yeah, angry. But luckily I managed to peel it off without causing too much damage and re-stick it. And then I believe these are grey wagtail feathers. They might be great tit feathers, but they did have a bit of yellow in, so that's why I went with wagtail. We'll see. But yeah, those are my finished pages. So I'll just do a little flip through here. And yeah, what I'll be doing off camera is sort of filling in all the spaces with written journaling as well. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.